And I did this for every single screen on the map. Hello, Internet, and welcome to what is essentially a tutorial video. As many of you know, I recently played Carrion. In fact, I've got it running here. It took me 6 hours and 22 minutes to complete Carrion, and I know that because that's how much footage that I have from my first playthrough. And for a lot of people, 6 hours 22 minutes might feel a little bit padded out because the game doesn't have an in-game map. And one thing that I found in my playthrough was that I spent a lot of time trying to get to places that I couldn't remember the way to get to. Now, I'm absolutely fine with that. For me, there was no frustration in doing so. But on the Steam forums, that is not necessarily the case. There are some people saying, oh, the game's not very good value for money. If you put a map in, the game would only be 2 hours long. And part of me doesn't like the kind of aggressive tone that some people have been taking with that, because most Metroidvania style games really aren't very long if you've got a map to play with. Now, I've made a lot of maps for Metroidvania games. In fact, I've got a folder here with just some of, it's even called Metroidvania maps. These are some of the games that I've made maps for. Blasphemous, Carrion, Dark Devotion, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, Hollow Knight, Iconoclast, Kunai, Mindseas, Omega Strike I never bothered in the end, Unworthy, Steamwell Dig, Bon Appetit. There's loads of them because it's my favourite genre, and I like piecing together. And I've got to say that piecing together the world of Carrion has actually been one of my most enjoyable map-making experiences. It's also been probably the trickiest to do. So I'm going to show you how I did it. First of all, I'm going to show you this is the frontier. This is the overworld. I'm going to be using this as kind of the kind of example of how I've done this, just for this little bit of chatting. So if we zoom in to 100%, you can see that the map that I've made, and you won't see it at this resolution in the Steam guide section because Steam's got an upload limit of 2 megabytes per file. But you can see that each of these bigger rooms is made up of loads and loads and loads, and this is full resolution of 720p room files. And that's what I've got here. I've got the game set to 720p in terms of its resolution. And what I've done is very, very straightforward to an extent. There are 2 commands that you need to know. First of all, if you press the tilde key or the little kind of backwards comma thing, you bring up the console in the game. And there's 2 commands that you want. You can go to edit_level, and I think it's overworld. There we go. And this will bring up the map of the overworld. And actually, rather handily, it's this room here. That is pure coincidence, folks. But this is what the overworld looks like. It's made up of a series of animated rooms in their default state. So once you've gone into this area, obviously the map will change, but this is the map in its pristine kind of reset state. And all I did was hit print screen, go into the map. That's gone behind everything because I didn't plan this out properly. So there we go. I've got a screenshot of it. Use the marquee tool. Crop an area. Control Shift and I to invert. Delete. to get rid of the unwanted chaff. I've just got press the V key to use transform, and I just put it in the right place. Now, obviously, this is a lot easier when you've got nothing behind it. And then you'd flick it on and off, nudge it into place with the arrow keys. And there we go. And I did this for every single screen on the map. Now, some screens, like this one, for example, are quite big. So I had to take one, two, three, four, probably. Maybe 8, maybe 9 if I did one in the center. Screenshots to piece them all together. And some screens like this one, unfortunately, not unfortunately for the process, not unfortunately for the game, it looks great. But there's some parallax in the background of this one, and I haven't cleaned that up. If I can think of a good way of doing that, then I will clean up the backgrounds as well. But that's it, basically. Just doing that. Just, you know. Now, do I recommend fiddling around with this at home? No. And here's why. Because if you view certain aspects with load level, when you continue, you might get stuck in one of the flashback sequences. That's not great, obviously. You can use the next level command and type in the name of the level that you want to go to, and then that will put you... Ooh. It should do. Clearly it hasn't. Is it going to let me out? There we go. Because there's only one save file. And herein lies the, you know, the big issue. Now, it is possible, if you want to play the game without the HUD. You just put set_HUD 0, set HUD 0, and that will turn off the HUD. And, you know, I could have mapped it out this way, but then I'd have had to spend a load of time kind of editing out the creature. And considering how many screenshots I've already had to take for this, doubling up or even tripling up in some cases, the number of screenshots so that I could overlay the bits without the monster, that would have just been, you know, ridiculous amounts of work. But that's how it was done. That's how it was created. And I do think that this is probably, out of all of them, this is probably the most useful of the maps, because this is the overworld, so it shows you where all of the different dungeon entrances are. So you've got your initial entrances, which is where you go to them the first time, and these turn into save points afterwards. The initial entrances, you can only use once. Then you kind of you're stuck in that place until you break the seal and escape. I don't know whether anybody had realised that. I'm not entirely sure I realised that. But you have to break the seals or you can't get out of the nuclear power plant or the warfare facility or whatever. But yeah, that's how the maps were made. It was slow, but it was fun. I mean, for people saying, oh, you know, 6 hours for whatever price you paid for the game, that's not really enough. Keep in mind that a lot of AAA Metroidvanias, like the original Castlevania games on the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, those were full price games for an experience that was kind of the same length. I obviously get a huge amount of value out of Metroidvania games, especially the shorter ones, because it takes me so long to put these maps together. I don't know if the Xbox Game Pass keeps track of actually how much time you've played in a particular game, but considering it took me 6 hours to beat it, I'm pretty certain I must have upwards of 20 hours now. In fact, I know for a fact I've got upwards of 20 plus hours now out of the game through making the maps. And you might say, well, that's not playing the game demo. It's like, yeah, you're right. But in terms of hours of entertainment garnered from that game, I've got a huge amount of value for money from it. My case, obviously, is very, very different. And I admit that if you are using these maps, then the amount of time that you will get out of... I really love that blue. The amount of time you will get out of the game will be less. Because it cuts down on the amount of exploration. To be honest, I recommend them. That's wrong. I need to change the name of that. Yeah, you're going to have less enjoyment out of it just because you will have not cheated, but you'll have you're cutting down on a load of the exploration. I feel like these are things that you should use right at the end for the final bit of exploration. Just finding those last few things. As far as I'm aware, there's no different ending for 100%. There's only one ending sequence in the files. So yeah, that's how it works. You need, if you want to play without the HUD, you can literally play the game without the HUD. However you want. But if you want to edit the level, next you want to go to edit level and then type in the name of whichever level you want. One thing that I struggled greatly with, if we just take a look at my bunker map, you'll see that there are several places with lines connected because those are doorways that you can go into. Now, if you are on the edit level version of this, many of the links between rooms are clear. They're passages and you can just follow those passages. But if there's a doorway, you can't press space to go into the doorway. Or at least it wasn't working for me. So if we go to, let's do it live to show you what I mean. Edit level bunker. I'm pressing space here. I'm on the map. But I'm not actually playing the game. I'm just using the WASD keys here to move around. And as far as I know, I must admit I didn't try hammering all the keys. There's no way of entering that door. So there was a lot of trial and error involved in linking things together. And that's why this particular map especially took me ages, because I couldn't find the connection from there to the seal. I couldn't find the seal room at all. And actually, if you look at the Armored Warfare facility, there's no screenshots of the keratosis room because I couldn't find it. I found screenshots of there, and I found the screen for there, but I could not for the life of me find the connection to the actual room with the keratosis power in. I think that's the only major one that I couldn't find. I found pretty much all of the others, but this map is really, really big. And just finding the connections to other places. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a debug command or something. I didn't try it, but that's something you should be aware of. Actually, finding how things link up is not as straightforward as simply exploring the map in the first place, if you want to have a crack at this for yourself. I mean, it would be possible, if not really, really time-consuming, to do this at full 4K. You could create fully 4K maps of this. Obviously, with that parallax effect in the background, that's going to be tricky. You've got blinking laser lights, you've got moving enemies and stuff. They don't pause. Maybe there's a command for doing that. These strobe in and out. I tried to make sure that they were all kind of a bluish colour. When I did the map, I had to take the screenshot at the right time. But that didn't always happen. Same with the laser beams and these explosive grenade things, whatever they are. I tried to take the screenshot when the red light was on, which wasn't always easy. Same with the lasers. I tried to make sure that they were as bright a green as I could manage. But that's, you know, that's timing. I could have slowed the game speed down. I think slowing down the game speed is an option. But anyway, that is how I put together the map. Hopefully, you'll find that useful or insightful. Final note, how did I remember where everything was? I didn't. I got 6 hours, 22 minutes worth of footage from when I played through 100% of the game. So I just watched the footage back at double speed and, you know, left notes and stuff. What doors did what levers flipped what, you know, I've got all the footage, so I just watched it all back. After I'd laid the maps out, I watched the footage back and made notes as I went. That was the easy bit. It was putting the maps together that was the hard bit. Hopefully you have accumulated some value out of this. I don't know how useful it was, but I know people have got questions about, you know, how do these maps get put together? This is the hardest one I've done, simply because it took so long. It would have been harder if there wasn't this edit level function in the room, because then it would have been screenshots of everything, just like it was for the Bon Appetit map. This was time consuming, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Hope you're enlightened. Leave a comment below if you've got some use out of the map. I'll have probably trimmed this down so that you don't have 20+ minutes of me talking. Try and edit it a little bit. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Check out the Carrion playlist if you haven't watched it. That's coming up. I'll stick that on the end screen. Cheers for watching. Stay safe out there. Watch out for tentacle monsters. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.